All right, well, I'm back in the truck, and you might think that today's video is going to be going to buy some more bikes, but you probably know it's not because you saw the thumbnail photo, and you know we're going to get something else. And obviously what we're in the hunt for today is some machine tools for the shop, and this is something that I've wanted forever, probably even before I opened the shop. I've just always been into machining and metalwork. So I've been looking for these machines for a long time and was never able to find either the right price or something that was local enough that it was convenient to get. So, you know, we're obviously in the Northeast, we're in New York. I'm actually in Connecticut right now, which is where we're going to pick these things up. While there is a great inventory of old American iron in the Northeast, obviously Bridgeport, Connecticut is only 45 minutes from here. And we had a lot of industry here back in the day. It's still the Northeast and it's still New York, Connecticut, so everything comes at a premium, whether it should or it shouldn't, if that makes sense to you. So you find a lot of stuff that's overpriced. Even if you're able to find it, you might not be able to make a good deal on it. So I found two machines that are coincidentally 5 miles apart from one another. Different sellers, different people, but I was able to find a lathe and a Bridgeport, both for sale in the same little town in Connecticut here. So we're on our way right now to go get them both. I got a bunch of stuff in the bed of the truck for rigging and moving and trying to get these things out from where they are and onto a truck to get them back to the shop. So I'm excited. I've never done anything like this before, so this is a little new adventure for me, and I figured might as well bring you guys along. I know this is off topic for the channel, but I just thought it'd be really cool to kind of document some of this. So we're gonna go grab the Bridgeport first, meeting a buddy with a tow truck there, which is how we're actually gonna move these things. And then hopefully once they're both on the truck, we're, you know, smooth sailing because we've got a forklift back at the shop to unload them. So I'll knock on wood for that. I say hopefully smooth sailing, but in any event, let's go get some shit. All right, well, we arrived at the first location, and obviously what we found was a really, really nice looking Bridgeport with a variable speed head, DRO with it, original manual with it. What you'll see there is a power feed as well. So just a really nice machine all the way around, just a little bit dirty, but in a situation where it was being used, it was under power, we were able to run it and make sure that all the functions worked. Came with a whole bunch of tooling that you see here, and this isn't even all of it. There was just a ton of stuff that the guy selling the machine had for us to take. So really excited about that because you can obviously spend a fortune on tooling in addition to just the machine. And here you can see we've taken all the accessories off, got the head folded down to make it easier to transport, and got it pretty much packaged up and ready to go. Now what we did was we put the machine up onto a pallet jack with some wood under there. There was fortunately a chain hoist available that we were able to use to lift the machine once we rolled it over to that spot. And then we're gonna load it onto the tow truck with the pallet jack.
I would just take it a step away from it. Alright, I'm gonna flatten the deck so you don't have to bring it up on the steep angle.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think definitely weighs 2,000 pounds. Oh, I gotta bring it on an angle or make that fucking door. You're fine. You can make it.
Sorry, buddy.
No, you're all right.
Got your finger here. All right, well, we got one machine loaded up. Super psyched. Variable speed Bridgeport. We'll talk more about it at the shop. But we're actually already at the second location. You can see behind me in the barn here. We got a lathe to go get in there. It's not in quite as nice shape as the Bridgeport is, but I'll have my work cut out for me with doing a little bit of cleaning it up and working on it. The Bridgeport is in incredibly good shape. Like, no rust. It's just dirty. All the paint is still there. It's crazy. The lathe is going to need a little bit more, but we're going to start getting it loaded up, and we'll see what we got. All right, so here's a first look at the lathe. This is pretty much as it was when we found it. The owner had already put it up onto this sled, so all we were gonna have to do was just drag it up onto the tow truck, which was pretty nice. But you'll see how it goes, and you'll get some of our first looks at it now. This is gonna be a fucking project, getting this thing. It's not terrible, it's just, I'm hoping it's just the surface rust on the machine stuff, and I'll just be able to just whetstone it. Mm-hmm. All right, well, here it is, loaded up. Got it sitting there next to the Bridgeport. They're gonna be neighbors for the rest of their lives, so they might as well get used to it now. I know we're looking at the back side of it, but I'll give you a better view of the rest of it when we get back to the shop, so let's go.
Huh? Winch is holding. Okay. There's no tension holding. This thing's just that heavy. All right. Yes. was just picturing that window check.
I know, but I was just trying to get some momentum. It's like once it starts moving, it's okay. It's just getting it started. All right. Well, there's one. Yeah, it's got enough room. You got around it. All right. Trashing the floor a little bit.
That's that'll buff out. That's just surface. Surface for us.
It'll be fine.
Ready for a ride. You're good. You're good. Yeah.
That got a little sketchy there for a second.
Well, that's much easier.
Yeah, on my floor than it is. Well, they're here. Both machines moved, nothing fell off the tow truck. Now we get to start the process of taking them apart, cleaning everything, and seeing what's good and what we gotta work on. Honestly, I'm excited to have these machines and use them, but I think I'm just as excited to fix them up and get them cleaned up and, you know, I don't know, get real, even dirtier than I already am working on these things, so it's gonna be awesome. All right, so what the hell am I doing? That is a very good question. So we got these machines back. Hopefully we got some good footage. You'll have seen it already, what we got of going to grab these machines and getting them out of where they were and getting them onto the truck and back here to the shop. Big thanks to the help I had in doing that. This was actually way smoother than I thought it was gonna be. These machines are super heavy. I don't know how much the lathe weighs. I want to say in the neighborhood of like 4,000 pounds. I think the Bridgeport is like 2,500, something like that. In any event, they're heavy. So I had some help going to get them, and everything went really smoothly. The guy selling the lathe had like a tractor that we could move it around. He also put, I don't know if you can see it in the shot I've got, but it's kind of sitting in this wooden sled. We were able to pull it up onto the tow truck that way. Bridgeport, there was no equipment on site, nothing like that. So we were doing rolling, pipe on the ground, and he did have a chain hoist, which was good. So we were able to pull it, pick it up, stick a pallet jack underneath it, and get it on the tow truck that way. So anyway, that was cool. But anyway, they're back here, and I'm going to start to go through them. This is obviously something brand new for me. Well, maybe that's not obvious. It's certainly new for the channel, but I don't know anything about this stuff. What I can tell you is you're all watching YouTube, and I will say I probably watch as much or more YouTube as you guys do. I don't watch anything related to motorcycles because I do enough of that, on my own. I watch stuff that interests me that are sort of maybe related. And machine shop, like buying, selling, repairing them, getting them running, and then also obviously, machining parts is a topic I really love. So for the last couple of years, I've wanted a lathe and a mill, and I've kind of been slowly looking and seeing what I could find. And ultimately, when I moved into this new shop, I kind of had in the back of my head that this place is bigger and there's going to be room for this bigger stuff. Now, this stuff is not staying here. We're going to be putting it inside what we called kind of like the dirty room. Obviously, these machines make a little bit of a mess in terms of like, chips and stuff like that. So I want to keep it away from what we're doing with, bikes and clean stuff like that. So I cleared out a space, but we're not really ready to get in there yet. I left them out here so that we could go through the process of getting these machines cleaned up, checked out, put back together, and hopefully 100% ready to go, and then move them in and get them, leveled in place and all that. So I thought it might be interesting to do a little kind of like side project on the channel here of just something that I don't know anything about. This is certainly not going to be me showing you how to do stuff. This is going to be me figuring it out for myself, just what I've been able to read on the forums and watch on YouTube. So I'm really excited to tear into these things. The night before I went to go get them, it was like Christmas Eve to me. I felt like I was a kid, honestly. I couldn't sleep. I was, up all night just excited about going to get these. And now that they're here, I was home on Sunday for a little while. I was home on Sunday all day, but I just wanted to come back here. Today's Monday, and I'm just dying to tear into these things. So I kept walking over here before I turned the camera on, and I was like, no, don't touch them yet. Just wait until we can start filming so I can kind of document some of this. So I don't know exactly what the format of this is going to be. Maybe I'll kind of give you a walk around of the machines and just kind of show you at least what I know so far. And obviously, for those of you who know more than me, feel free to give me some advice in the comments about, anything you see on here, because I obviously, like I said, I don't know anything. But anyway, in going forward, I'll probably hopefully do a couple different videos on this. I'll try and do a playlist so you can kind of follow along with these. For the moment, where I'm going to start is, we'll get a little closer look, but you can see we've got, some rust on the chuck here. All the, the cross slide and compound, all this stuff needs to be disassembled and cleaned. The machines themselves are dirty too. So I'm going to go through all of that, and then maybe we'll, continue with some more videos down the road on next steps on these. But just in terms of the order of things, the way they have to go into the room, the lathe needs to go into place first. So this is kind of going to be the priority of getting the lathe done first so it can get moved in there. And then the Bridgeport will go in after the lathe. So let me show you what I got, and I don't know, I'm gonna get started on, I'm gonna make a huge mess of myself today, so I'm ready to get going. All right, so here's the lathe. Obviously this is a LeBlond Regal model lathe. There's not much else that the person who is selling it knew about it. What we've got here, I believe, is a 15 by 30, is what it looks like to me. I have not measured anything yet, but that's what it appears to be, at least to my limited knowledge. If you look, kind of closely, I was hoping this machine was going to be in a little bit better shape than it is, but, you get up closer and you realize it's mostly just dirty. I don't see anything wrong with it. I did come in here and just wipe the ways down just to kind of see what I could see here. And these, at least to my eye, look like they're cleaning up pretty well. Obviously, we're going to have to check them in a more precise way, but obviously, we're going to disassemble that chuck. I will do some rust treatment on it. We'll get that cleaned up. And then what I was saying here on the compound and the crossfeed, all this stuff. Like this is all got to get disassembled so we can deal with the rust and stuff that's on here. I'm obviously less concerned. I mean, obviously I'd like to be able to use and not spend a whole lot of money on stuff we already have, but if it's not a permanent piece of the machine, like, you know, the motor or the gearing inside of here or the ways, anything can be, you know, fixed or replaced. But I'm hoping we've got some good stuff here to start off with. So just come back, take another look. So we got threading stuff down here. And didn't come with much. I did get another chuck, a 4-jaw, maybe I think a surface plate also. Obviously we got the tailstock. And then, let's see, back here there's not that much to see. This is a little bit weird to me. I'm not sure what of this is original and what of it's not. I mean, so obviously you got the motor down there. This looks like maybe a frequency controller, like a speed drive for the motor to get it operating at the right frequency, I think. And this big box is where kind of all the electrical connections are, but this doesn't look factory to me. The fact that it's sticking up like this and sticking off the back of the machine doesn't seem 100% right to me, but I really have no idea. So anyway, so that's the lathe, and then the Bridgeport. This was the buy, man. So this is, from what I know, this is obviously a 2 horsepower variable speed. It's a 38-inch table, which is on the smaller side, but that is what I wanted. I was not looking for something huge, so I'm pretty excited about that. And in addition to being the variable speed drive, this is also, at least from what I know, a later model Bridgeport. And the telltales of that are the tacked on or pinned on logo here rather than being cast. The double lock here, and then the double lock on the knee as well. So apparently those features are the indication of a later model unit. And if you look at this machine, there is really no rust on it. The paint is actually almost intact. It's really just dirty. This was in a shop that they were doing like body work and stuff like that, so there's just dust all over it. But it looks really, really nice. I'm really excited about this. Obviously, again, there's gonna be a whole bunch of disassembly. Obviously, we'll take the vise apart. I will disassemble as much as I need to here to, clean the ways, put new wipers on, things like that. Just go through kind of like as much of a service as I can do. This machine also does have a DRO. It would be right here. I took it off for transport. But yeah, so between the variable speed head, the DRO, good table, good ways, power feed on the axis there. I guess what's that? I guess that's the x-axis power feed. This is all really cool. I'm really excited about this. I got a great price on the Bridgeport. I think I got a pretty good price on the lathe too, but I think my waiting paid off. So in any event, like I said, I'm gonna start over here with getting the lathe as much disassembly as I can do comfortably. The first thing I'm gonna do is start working on this stuff. I would love to take this off first, but I actually don't have the correct, or I don't have a wrench at all for this. It did not come with the spanner. So I was able to find somebody who sells them online. So I've got that ordered so I can get that chuck off of there. But my first order of business is getting all the removable stuff removed so we can get it in some, rust converter solution, and we can get everything degreased and cleaned. So I'm ready to get going. All right, well, I'm sure I probably only filmed a little bit of the scrubbing and nonsense that I started to do on this machine, but suffice it to say, I've spent the better part of the last 2 days and last night till, I don't know, 2 a.m. Just scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing this machine. So obviously it's dirty and obviously it needs to be clean. It's just, there's just so much do it again, do it again, the layers of grease. It really was basically 2 full days to get it to this point. And the machine is still not super clean by any stretch. I mean, that wasn't the goal. And in fact, you know, to protect the ways and all the unpainted surfaces, there's a layer of WD-40 kind of all over this. So there's sort of a film of oil all over the whole machine, which is fine with me. I was just trying to get all the old junk and metal out and all the chips and, you know, all that stuff buried in every nook and cranny. Found a little mouse house hidden behind this panel here. So that was a joy. But at this point, I am pleased to report that the fixed parts of the machine, or at least the stuff that I'm not going to take apart, have all been cleaned, you know, rust removed with a Scotch-Brite, basically taken care of. So at this point, because I don't want to forget how all this stuff with the cross-slide and the compound and all that came apart, I'm going to be cleaning all that stuff with the pressure washer, and then doing a little like rust conversion, get any surface rust that's on any of that stuff off, and get it put back together so I don't lose track of it all. The chuck, I think I mentioned a little earlier, I don't have the wrench to get this off. Obviously, this needs to get taken apart and cleaned up. I did find somebody who sells a wrench for this. This would be an L0 tapered spindle. So in any event, I've got the wrench coming, at which point I'll get the chuck off, but everything else on here for the most part is taken care of. Now I just have to get into all the little pieces that I took off and get all those scrubbed and cleaned up. So I'll try to show you a little bit of that, and then we'll see, I don't know, maybe start to put some of this stuff back together. I really want to power it up. I still haven't even heard this machine run. I've to some extent been avoiding doing it because it's like a Schrodinger's cat situation. If I don't test it, it can't not work. So as long as I don't test it, everything's fine, if that makes sense. But we're getting to that point where I'm going to have to do it pretty soon. So stick around and we'll keep plugging away and see what we can do. Okay, so laid out here is a bunch, maybe not quite all, of the little parts that I've taken off the machine so far. The tool post and the compound are still I haven't started with those yet, but got a bunch of pieces here. All this stuff I cleaned initially with the parts washer. This thing does an okay job. It warms up the fluids, so that helps a little bit, but my experience so far with doing this is that I think degreaser is a placebo and really does nothing. You know, if you have fluid on whatever your thing is, whether it's a rag, a Scotch-Brite, a brush, doesn't really seem that the degreaser does a whole lot. But anyway, I don't know. I might just be frustrated by how much of a pain this was. But in any event, so from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some WD-40 with a Scotch-Brite, similar to what I did on the ways on the machine. And I am going to just lightly clean up all of these unpainted surfaces. Obviously, being particularly careful with the precision surfaces, the ways, the gib, all that stuff. Just want to get it back to be nice and smooth and get any rust off of it. So I'm just going to fire away here and keep going. And I will say, as much as I have come to kind of not believe in degreaser, WD-40 might be my new favorite thing. It's pretty amazing. It sucks as a penetrating oil. If you've ever worked on anything rusty, you know that. But it's great as a lubricant for sort of polishing these things up. It's the same thing I did on those fork lowers that I worked on last week. But anyway, I'm going to keep going, and we'll show you this stuff when it's ready to go back on. All right, well, I stopped recording there for a while. Obviously, it was a lot of cleaning and scrubbing and a bunch of whole other nonsense. I did get most of just about everything put back together after having gotten it cleaned. But before we take a look at that, hopefully you can see what I got going on here. I want to get this machine moved into place into the room it's going to be in. The mill is already moved in there. Probably should have filmed that. It just got kind of carried away and started moving it and forgot to turn the camera on. So at least we'll be able to see moving the lathe, which is, I don't know, maybe a little bit more exciting than the mill. But Mill was pretty easy. Was able to just pick it up with the forklift, put it down onto a set of machine skates, and just roll it into position. The lathe, we're gonna do kind of similar. I gotta get it turned around, and it's gotta go into the room and also make a turn. So it might be a little more complicated, but I'm gonna give it the old college try here. So I'm gonna get this machine picked up, turned around, and hopefully get it as close as I can to the room where it's gonna go. And then we'll put it down on the skates and kind of roll it in the rest of the way. So that's the plan. Let's hope for the best. All right, well, I think I've got this more or less in a place that's gonna work. It's just a little complicated trying to squeeze 8,000 pounds of machine into a 6,000 pound room or whatever. I wish I had more room. I wish I could have put the mill in a corner so it wouldn't take up so much floor space. And then the lathe, kind of just trying to decide what's gonna be the best for maximizing floor space, but also being able to actually use both the machines and get access to what you need to get access to. Fortunately, if this doesn't work, it's not the biggest deal in the world to, slide this around. Obviously, moving these, switching the places or something like that's a big deal, but moving the lathe a little bit this way or that way, not the end of the world. Obviously, we'd have to re-level it if we do that, but I think this is gonna work. So at least for the time being, I'm going to get it off the skates and down onto the feet and try and get a better sense of how this is going without the ever-present fear in the back of my head of this thing rolling away or tipping over. So I'm going to get this thing on the ground. Something to put this on. All right. Okay. Lift again. All right, well, it's on the ground. I have no idea if all the feet are touching. I have no idea if it's anywhere close to level, but I think we're at least making some progress here. Let me move some of this junk out of the way. Before I do, let me tell you something. This Amazon Vivor China toe jack, best money I think I've spent in a long time. I don't remember how much this was. I'll try and put a link to the description. I'll look in the description to the Amazon link. I don't do any of that affiliate nonsense, whatever, just so you can see it. I think this thing was like 150 bucks or something like that. Could not have done this job without it. This was invaluable for moving both these, and I'm sure I'll get some more use out of it down the road too. Super, super nice and easy to use. But anyway, let me get cleaned up here and I'll show you what we're looking at. All right, well, this is pretty brutal. I really thought that this machine was going to take a lot less effort than the lathe did. The lathe had a lot more rust. It had been sitting for a long time. This was in a working shop, so kind of figured the cleaning would be less, but hopefully you can tell it is pretty backbreaking. Excuse me, I'm sick too. I've got a cold I've been fighting all week, so this is rough. Anyway, I had the knee dropped all the way down when we were transporting it, and I took the opportunity to try and clean off the ways on the top side of the Z-axis. We also did the ways on the X and the Y. I guess we didn't really do the Y yet, really just didn't do the X, just the Y and the Z. But anyway, I brought the knee up to now do the bottom side of the ways for the Z-axis. I also found the stockpile of where all the chips go that fall down through the table. I'll be the first to admit that this is all new to me. I think I mentioned that already a couple times. So I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm really just trying to clean everything I can find, get the ways as good as I can with, just a Scotch-Brite to take any, surface rust or whatever off. No rust on this one, just gunk. But anyway, I'm going to try and vacuum all this, release as much of this metal out of here as I can, clean off the bottom side here, and hopefully then we can start to be done with the heavy cleaning and get into a little bit more detailed setup, but I guess we'll see. All right, well, I don't know how long this video is, but for me, this has been about 2 weeks since we went and got these machines, brought them into the shop, started cleaning them up, got them moved in here, and got them mostly cleaned up. The lathe is definitely a lot further along. I actually already started the process of leveling it, so we are very close to being ready to go on the lathe, at least hopefully. The Bridgeport today, like right now, just finished with the big cleaning. I got most of the heavy stuff, I think, I hope. I'm really tired of being on my hands and my knees covered in black WD-40 grime all over myself. So, you know I've got some little things to, hit here and there, but I'd like to get this under power, start running through some of the functions, see how it works, get it aligned. Yeah, so like I said, hopefully the cleaning part of this is mostly done. So I'm going to end the video here. The next thing I've got to do, I'm going to let these chill for a little while. I've got other stuff I have to get back to. We have to get the power brought in here. Fortunately, we've got 3-phase power here in the shop, and the main panel is right on the other side of this wall. So we're going to run a sub panel into this room, and there's a couple 220 circuits already in here for a couple of other things: compressor, welder, grinder. Move all those onto a sub panel, plus these two 3-phase breakers for these. Put one big sub panel right there for all the stuff in here. So that'll be cool. In any event, I know this is a totally different kind of wacky outside thing for the channel, but this is just something I've always wanted to do, and I figured documenting it and showing you guys the trials and tribulations of learning something new might be kind of cool. So if you're into it, let me know, and I'll keep showing you videos of me struggling through how to set up and learn to use these machine tools. But if you want to get back to regular motorcycle programming, that's okay too. We'll have more of that coming up. So that said, that's going to do it, and we'll see you on the next one.